Greetings, and welcome to another video. Huge news dropped from Mech Arena on November 13th.
Three, two, one, go. Let's get things started.
This video covers the entire major game balance update incoming announcement. We will walk through each planned adjustment and upcoming system changes in detail. This is one of the most extensive balance initiatives in Mech Arena's history. I'll provide my thoughts as an F2P player who's been playing for a few months at the end of the video. The developers start by reaffirming their goal, making Mech Arena more fun and engaging. They recognize that several mechs and weapons have become too dominant, limiting diversity in gameplay. The update aims to solve that. The changes are based heavily on both community feedback and internal analytics. The dev team emphasizes that the intention is not to weaken your favorite builds. Instead, they want to raise the power level of underused mechs and weapons to give players more viable options in every match. Raise up the rest of the roster is the philosophy guiding all changes. The rebalance is structured across 4 monthly stages, spanning November to February. Each stage includes buffs and nerfs, with a focus on a roughly 4-to-1 ratio of buffs to nerfs. Players will receive 2-week advance notice before each stage begins. Stage 1 of the rebalance begins on November 27th, exactly 14 days after the announcement. This consistent preview window gives players time to plan hangar adjustments. Only 2 items receive nerfs in the first wave, the Revoker weapon and the Hemlock mech. The rebalance is overwhelmingly buff-focused, with only 2 nerfs versus 4 buffs. Revoker's damage is reduced by 15%, and its optimal range is reduced by 23%. The devs explain that Revokers have been too dominant, limiting other weapon options. Revoker is pushed firmly toward close-range combat, where it must commit more risk.
Are you sure about that?
Hemlock receives the most significant nerfs of this update. Day's duration reduced. Cooldown almost doubled. Implant effectiveness cut sharply. The goal is to prevent Hemlock from locking down enemy movement continuously. The cooldown increase from 10 to 16 seconds dramatically lowers Hemlock's control uptime. 4 weapons are buffed in this update: Howler, Hellfire, Suppressor, and Savant. These buffs aim to revitalize underused or underperforming weapons. Buffs outnumber nerfs 4-to-1, reinforcing the devs' uplift philosophy. Howler gets its reload time reduced from 5.7 seconds to 3 seconds, allowing much more frequent firing. A massive reload buff transforms Howler into a true hit-and-run weapon. Hellfire receives both a damage boost and an expanded optimal range, improving its effectiveness up to 40 meters. Increasing optimal range without changing max range avoids technical issues while still making the weapon competitive. Suppressor gets a huge 40% damage increase to make it more viable as a brawling option in addition to its support role. This is one of the largest single damage buffs in the update. Savant undergoes the most complex upgrade.
Yeah, boy.
Damage increased by 82%. Double damage chance significantly reduced. Projectiles leave the magazine more slowly. These changes improve consistency and effectiveness against mods. The rebalance shifts power from RNG into guaranteed damage, a major quality of life improvement. The developers will announce Stage 2 14 days before release. The remaining 3 stages will follow the same communication structure. This structured rollout ensures clarity and community feedback between each phase. Once all 4 stages are complete, a new season system will launch. Seasons will introduce temporary modifiers for specific content, keeping gameplay fresh.
Okay.
These modifiers will be fully transparent for players, shown in-game. To support this new direction, the release pace of new content will slow down. Development efforts will focus on refining existing mechs and weapons rather than constantly adding new ones. This shift emphasizes long-term balance stability over rapid expansion. The team closes by reiterating their goals: reduce power gaps, encourage more diverse hangars, and keep the meta skill-based. They encourage players to send feedback as these changes roll out. These changes represent a long-term plan to create a healthier, evolving meta. I don't think the Revoker nerf will really change anything. I feel that it will still be dominant if they stick with the initial numbers. We'll have to find out.
I'll be back.
For Hemlock, I feel that the ability cooldown changes are warranted. Getting permalocked by a single ability can be frustrating. The implant changes can mean something more in the future and might affect other implants like for the Storm Rack. For the weapon buffs, these are welcome changes. Personally, I haven't used any of these weapons except for the Savant, which I got for one of my son's accounts. I agree that it is currently underperforming, and these changes will hopefully be helpful in making it strong and usable. I'm excited to try it out once the update comes out. There's also changes with seasons in terms of weapon buffs. I don't think it really changes anything, since we already have weapon modifiers all the time. I was not there when the rebalancing were done for Disc Launcher and Arc Torrent. From what I heard, those changes were brutal for the players, and it left a bad taste in the community. It's understandable if the upcoming changes will be met with skepticism and negativity. As a gamer, I fully understand the need to perform tweaks once in a while, even if they hurt. The game needs to evolve and prevent the meta from being stale. I've come to realize that balancing games is a really hard task, and players will never be satisfied. I just give props to the devs for actually pushing through with this. I hope they do it right. My advice is, if you want to maximize your resources, wait for the changes to be applied before doing any major purchase. We don't really know which mechs, weapons, and implants will be in scope and the extent of the nerfs and buffs. The next 4 months should be very exciting. Please drop a like if you learned something new. Subscribe for more Mech Arena news and updates. Thanks for watching until the end. I really appreciate your support. Good game, and have fun.
Lord and Vlog Productions.